Good morning, children. This is lecture 3 of chapter Isomerism. In this lecture, we will talk about optical isomerism. As we know that stereoisomerism is divided into two parts. One is geometrical isomerism and the other one is optical isomerism. In lecture 2, we have talked about geometrical isomerism. Now in this lecture, we will study about optical isomerism. Let us first see what is plane polarized light. In ordinary light, vibration occurs in all planes perpendicular to the direction of propagation. You can see this one. This is the ordinary light. It is vibrating in all direction. See, these are vibrating in all direction. Okay. This is called unpolarized light. This is known as unpolarized light. When it is vibrating in all direction, in all planes, perpendicular to the direction of propagation. But when this light is forced to pass through a nickel prism, the transmitted light which is coming out when the ordinary light is passing through the nickel prism, which is coming out from the nickel prism, that is, the transmitted light vibrates in only one plane. Just see that they are vibrating in only one plane. This is the direction of vibration. Okay. All other vibrations are cut off. All other vibrations are cut off. This light is called plane polarized light. When the vibration is only in one direction, then those lights are known as plane polarized light. Am I clear? Now, what is optical rotation? When plane polarized light is passed through a solution of organic compounds, it's passing through the solution of organic compounds. Suppose this is the solution of organic compounds and the light, plane polarized light is passing. Then these organic compounds, some of the organic compounds, they are having a property to rotate the plane of plane polarized light by a certain angle. Previously, this was the plane of the plane polarized light. Now, when the light is passing through the solution of the organic compound, now this organic compound may have a property to rotate the plane of plane polarized light. See, now it has come in the direction x dash y dash, in this direction. Okay. Now the compound may rotate the light by a certain angle either in clockwise direction or in anti-clockwise direction. Okay, so rotation of plane polarized light by solution of an organic compound is shown here in this diagram. Now, this property of a substance of rotating the plane polarized light through a definite angle is called optical activity, and the substance is said to be optically active. Some of the organic compounds, solution of organic compounds, they are having this particular property. And when this is happening, then the substance is said to be optically active. Am I clear? The rotation of the plane polarized light by an optically active substance is measured with the help of an instrument. That instrument is known as polarimeter. And this is the diagram, schematic diagram of a polarimeter. Now, a very important thing, that is chirality. Now, what is chirality? See, the right hand is the mirror image of the left hand. Now, you take your left hand and try to put it over your right hand. You will see that these two are not matching, not a superimposable mirror image. Okay? But take a sphere and this is the mirror image of the sphere, and now you try to put the left hand side sphere over the right hand side sphere, then these two will just coincide. That means we'll get a superimposable mirror image. Take a square and then you try to put the square with its above its mirror image. You will get a superimposable mirror image of the square. Okay? Now see here, when an object is non-superimposable on its mirror image, that means these two, the object and the image, is not superimposable, is not coincide with each other exactly, then it is called chiral. Now don't forget children, non-superimposable mirror image, they are known as chiral, and the property is known as chirality. A chiral object is also called a dissymmetric object. Okay, now chirality is the cause of optical activity. Very important line, very important line. Chirality is the cause of optical activity. When the object is having a non-superimposable mirror image, then that is causing chirality, and if there is a chirality is present in the object, then that is giving you optical active, that is the optical active compound, and chirality is the cause of optical activity. I'll discuss this in detail in the following slides. When the mirror image is superimposable on the original object, when the mirror image is a superimposable on original object, then it is known as achiral. So, this one is a chiral object and this one is an achiral object. Am I clear to you? Origin of chirality. Chirality occurs due to sp3 hybridization in carbon atom. When four different atoms or groups get attached to an sp3 hybridized carbon atom, the molecule assumes chirality. In that case, it is never superimposable on its mirror image. Okay? Let me just explain this with an example, that is fluorochlorobromomethane. Okay, the formula is CH, fluoro, chloro, bromo and methane. Okay, now if we will draw the structure of this, it is coming like this: CH, F, fluoro, chloro, bromo. Now the right hand side, this one is the mirror image of the left hand side compound molecule. Okay, now just take one and try to put it above the mirror image of the original compound, and you will find that these two forms are non-superimposable mirror image. They are not coinciding. Their original compound and the mirror image of the original compound, these two are not coinciding. They are non-superimposable. These are regarded as stereoisomers of fluoro, chloro, bromo, methane. Non-superimposable stereoisomers are also termed as enantiomer. Another new word, very important word. If you are getting a non-superimposable mirror image, that means non-superimposable stereoisomers, they are called enantiomer. The figure, this one, they are the enantiomers of fluoro, chloro, bromo, methane. They're giving you non-superimposable mirror image. So that means this is giving you the chirality. It's giving you a non-superimposable mirror image is forming. So they are giving you the property of chirality. So that means this compound is optically active. This carbon is known as chiral carbon. Okay. Now a very important line. Chirality is regarded as the necessary and sufficient condition for a molecule to become optically active. Very, very important line. Chirality is regarded as the necessary and sufficient condition for a molecule to become optically active. That means if there is a chiral center, then the compound is optically active. The molecule is optically active. A chiral molecule does not have a plane of symmetry. That means if I am breaking it, suppose my compound is this one, CH3, CH, COOH and OH. The name of this compound is lactic acid. This is lactic acid. Okay, now suppose I want to divide it in between from here. I want to break it. I'm making it two half. Now in one half, the left hand side half and the right hand side half, these two are not matching. Okay, so that means they are not having a plane of symmetry. They are not having a plane of symmetry. Okay, am I clear to you? But these two are giving a non-superimposable mirror image. These two are giving a non-superimposable mirror image. This is the original compound and this is the mirror image. Now these two are non-superimposable mirror image, and that is why they are optically active. So it is said chirality is regarded as the necessary and sufficient condition for a molecule to become optically active. I think I'm clear to you. Now, if the OH group of lactic acid is replaced with hydrogen, we can get propanoic acid. That is CH3CH2 COOH is the formula of propanoic acid. See, this is lactic acid, CH3 CH COOH and OH. Now, in lactic acid, if this OH is replaced by H, so we are getting this compound, that is CH3 CH COOH and H. So it is CH3 CH2 COOH. Now this is the plane of symmetry, this line. You can see this line, this is the plane of symmetry. Okay, now this molecule has a plane of symmetry because if you can draw a plane from here, from the middle, just see that this is the plane from the middle, this dotted line is shown. Then both the sides, we are getting the same compound. So the image, the mirror image of this propanoic acid is this one. So you see, you can see if you are drawing a plane of symmetry, then both the side hydrogen are present. Okay, so its mirror image is superimposable to on the original one. So this is achiral. And as it is achiral, superimposable mirror image we are getting. So this is achiral and it's optically inactive. Am I clear? So you may get a question that why propanoic acid is not optically active? Why it is optically inactive? Because it is having a plane of symmetry and we are getting the superimposable mirror image. And that is why this is optically inactive. Now see a very interesting thing. Even the compounds having asymmetric carbon atoms and not possessing chirality are optically inactive. The compound is asymmetric, having asymmetric carbon atom. The compound is having asymmetric carbon atom. That means the carbon atom, all the four valences are satisfied with it with different elements or compounds. So that is asymmetric carbon atom. So if it is asymmetric carbon atom, it should possess chirality. Okay. But though they are asymmetric carbon atoms, some compounds are there, asymmetric carbon atoms are present, but they not possessing chirality and they are optically inactive. I'm just showing you with the example mesotartaric acid. This is mesotartaric acid. Now mesotartaric acid is having the formula, it is written here, COOH, OH, H, COH, H, COOH. This is the formula of mesotartaric acid. Now, if we talk about this carbon atom, now I'm just writing it, this carbon atom. In one side, I'm having H, The other side I am having OH, and here I am having COOH, and this one, this is CH, OH, COOH. I can write it in this way. So the four valencies of this particular carbon atom is having different groups or element. Now I'm talking about this carbon atom. If I'm talking about this carbon atom, now I'm writing for this carbon atom. See, C, this side it is having COOH, here it is OH, this side it is H, and this is as a whole, I can write it as CH, OH, COOH. So if I am writing it separately, then this particular carbon atom is an asymmetric carbon atom. This carbon atom is also an asymmetric carbon atom. So this compound is having asymmetric carbon atom. So it should shows optical inactivity because chirality is present. But it is not possessing chirality. Why, you know? Because if we'll draw a plane from here, this line, this particular dotted line, this is a plane of symmetry. If it is a plane of symmetry can be drawn from here, then you can see that the upper part and the lower part, these two are the mirror image of one another. Okay, that means this molecule has two chiral carbon atom, but it is still optically inactive as it possesses a plane of symmetry. Am I clear? This is also a very important question. Show that mesotartaric acid, they are having two asymmetric carbon atom, but still not showing optical activity. They are optically inactive. Am I clear to you? When two or more compounds having the same molecular formula and similar chemical structures exhibit different effect on plane polarized light. We have started from here. The organic compound, some of the organic compound is having a property to deviate the plane of plane polarized light to a certain angle. So they exhibit different effect on plane polarized light. The phenomenon is called optical isomerism, and such compounds are called optical isomers. The compound which is showing a particular effect on plane polarized light. Optical isomers are of two types. One is dextrorotatory, or it is known as D isomer, and the other one is levorotatory, which is known as L isomer. Now, which one is dextrorotatory or D isomer, and which one will call as levorotatory or L isomers? The enantiomer, which rotates the plane polarized light in clockwise direction, is called dextrorotatory or D isomer. Conventionally, it is given a positive sign, that is plus. Just see the figure. This is D isomer. it is rotating this plane to the right hand side, clockwise direction. Levorotatory or L isomer, the isomer which rotates the plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction is called levorotatory or L isomer, and it is given a sign negative. Just see that this was the first case and it is rotating in the left hand side, that means anti-clockwise. So this is the figure and this is your L isomer, levorotatory. Now molecules of D and L isomers of a compound are the mirror image of each other and they are enantiomers. See this example, butane 2-ol. This is known as D-butane 2-ol and this is known as L-butane 2-ol. You can see that these two are the mirror image of one another. Now next is coming racemic mixture, or it is known as DL mixture. Very important one, racemic mixture. A mixture comprising equal amounts of D and L isomers of a substance is called a racemic mixture or DL mixture. It is denoted by plus minus sign. It does not show any optical activity because it is having the equal amount of D and L isomer. So they compensate each other. Two isomers present compensate optical activity of each other. One is rotating the plane polarized light to the clockwise side and the other one is rotating the plane polarized to the left hand side. So they compensate each other. Am I clear? But a mixture which comprises equal amount of D and L isomer of a substance is called racemic mixture. Racemization. The process of converting D form or L form of an optically active substance into a racemic mixture is called racemization. Suppose we are having a D form or L form, that is that D form and L form that is converting to DL mixture. Okay, that is known as racemization. Resolution is just opposite of racemization, the process of separation of racemic mixture into its D and L components. Am I clear? Is known as resolution. Now, which compounds are known as mesocompounds? Mesocompounds are those compounds which, in spite of having optically active chiral carbon atom, as I already shown you in the previous slide, do not exhibit optical activity. This compound, they are having optically active chiral carbon atom, but they do not show optical activity. Mesocompounds have a plane of symmetry. This is the plane of symmetry. Okay, the upper half compensates the optical activity of the lower half. See, the upper half is rotating in the clockwise direction and the lower half is rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. So they compensate each other. And hence the net optical activity is 0. This compound is known as mesotartaric acid. Net optical rotation is 0, as I told you, they compensate each other. And meso 2,3-dichlorobutane, this compound is meso 2,3-dichlorobutane. Here also the net optical rotation is 0. Am I clear to you? These compounds are known as meso compounds. That means the meso compounds have a plane of symmetry. The upper half compensates the optical activity of the lower half. Here it is showing optical isomerism due to asymmetric carbon atom. An asymmetric carbon atom is that carbon atom whose 4 valencies, that is sp3 hybridization carbon atom, the 4 valencies are satisfied with 4 different atoms or groups. Already I told you about it and you know about it. Asymmetric carbon atom means the carbon atom whose all the valencies are satisfied with different atoms or groups. A molecule of the type carbon ABCD, that means its 4 valencies are satisfied with A, B, C and D type, contains an asymmetric carbon atom and has the following 2 enantiomer. It can be written in this way: A, one side A, B, C, D, and its mirror image is A. Now this side D, then C, then B. So these two are the not superimposable. They are non-superimposable mirror image. If the 4 valencies of the sp3 hybridized carbon atom are satisfied with 4 different atoms or groups. But the molecule of the type CAABD, CAAAD, CAAAA poses a plane of symmetry. If you will write it, you will get a plane of symmetry. You on your own try to do this. Their mirror images are superimposable and they are unable to show enantiomerism. Am I clear? A compound containing one asymmetric carbon atom usually exists in 2 optically active forms, which are called enantiomers. D isomer rotates the plane polarized light in clockwise direction, while L isomer rotates the plane polarized light in anti-clockwise direction. On mixing these 2 forms in equimolar proportion, the net optical rotation is 0. This already I explained to you. These are the D and L tartaric acid. This is and this one. Okay. This is 3-dimensional and this is the Fischer projection of A, D and L lactic acid. The same thing. CH3, CHOH, COOH. We can get mirror image but non-superimposable mirror image. So one is giving the D form, another is L form, and if we'll mix it in equimolar proportion, then we are getting DL form and then the net optical rotation is 0. When a compound contains 2 or more similar asymmetric carbon atoms, the number of optical isomers is generally less than 2 to the power n, where n is the number of asymmetric carbon atom. For example, tartaric acid we are taking. Now in tartaric acid, this is the formula for the tartaric acid. It is having 2 asymmetric carbon atoms. So this is the mirror image of the first one. So we are getting 2 different forms. Now come to the third and fourth. These 2 are the same compound. This is the meso compound. This is having a plane of symmetry. This is a meso compound. So 2 to the power n, the number of optical isomers is generally less than 2 to the power n, where n is the number of asymmetric carbon atom. We are having 2 asymmetric carbon atom. So the isomers is 2 to the power n, means 2 to the power 2, which is equals to 4. It is less than 4, so we are getting 3. 1, 2 and 3. These 2, 3 and 4 are similar, same. Am I clear? So what we got? The tartaric acid can be written in 3 different forms. One is D-tartaric acid. This is your D-tartaric acid. This is your L-tartaric acid. And one more, that is mesotartaric acid. Am I clear? You have to practice this structure. The 3 different forms of tartaric acid. Physical constants of tartaric acid, that is the D-tartaric acid, L-tartaric acid, DL-tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid. All these 4 forms of tartaric acid, the melting point, density, all these things are given here in this table. Just go through it once. Enantiomerism and enantiomers. When a molecule possesses chirality, asymmetry or dissymmetry, it can exist as 2 non-superimposable stereoisomers which are mirror image of each other. These forms are called enantiomers and the phenomenon is called enantiomerism. Let us take the example of D and L lactic acid first. This is the D and L lactic acid. This D and L form of lactic acid, they are having 1 chiral carbon atom. These 2 are the non-superimposable mirror image of each other. Similarly, this is D and L tartaric acid. In this tartaric acid, we are having 2 asymmetric carbon atom. But these 2 forms are the non-superimposable mirror image of each other. So, these forms are called enantiomers and this phenomenon is called enantiomerism. Properties of enantiomers. 2 enantiomers differ in the way they rotate the plane polarized light. One rotates in clockwise direction and the other in anti-clockwise direction. The absorption coefficients for the left-handed and right-handed circularly polarized light are different for 2 enantiomers. This difference is called circular dichroism. Enantiomers may possess different rates of reaction with other optically active compounds, and the enantiomers may differ physiologically. For example, D-histidine is sweet and L-histidine is tasteless. Similarly, L-nicotine is more poisonous than D-nicotine. Diastereoisomerism and diastereoisomers. The optical isomers of a compound which are neither mirror image of each other nor are superimposable are called diastereoisomers, and the phenomenon is called diastereoisomerism. One of them possesses chirality and the other does not. Therefore, one is optically active and the other is not. For example, D or L form of tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid, these two are diastereoisomers. See, D-tartaric acid, this form of tartaric acid, they are having two chiral carbon atom, but they are forming a non-superimposable mirror image. So this form, that is D form or L form, both are optically active. But mesotartaric acid, this form is optically inactive. So this D-tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid or L-tartaric acid and mesotartaric acid both are diastereoisomers, and this phenomenon is known as diastereoisomerism. Properties of diastereoisomers. Diastereoisomers differ in physical properties such as melting point, density, solubility, dielectric constant, specific rotation, etc. Chemical properties of diastereoisomers are similar, but their rates of reaction with other optically active substances may be different. Mass and NMR spectra of diastereoisomers may be different, particularly in alicyclic diastereoisomers. Mass spectra are significantly different. Along with this, the chapter isomerism ends here. Go through the videos properly and consult your book for better understanding.